Record. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is D-Man the Gr8 here, and I'm here today to talk about what I want to talk about because it's the beginning of my new podcast, the D-Man the Gr8 podcast, found on Invest TV and YouTube. All right, so with that being said, to start off, pretty much the mission statement here is I might have somebody on, I might not have somebody on. I might talk every day. I might not talk every day. But I'm about to be here for 45 minutes at a time because I feel like as a one-man show, you can't really be talking that long to really keep the interest behind everybody in an audience. So with that being said, I'm about to sort of get straight into business here. So my first topic on this podcast will be the Oklahoma City Thunder win the 2025 NBA championship. And I'm recording this in the midst of Indiana Fever Dallas Wings game, WNBA. They're playing right now. It's not a good game. So I'm talking and having fun while I'm watching sort of the game. All right, so Thunder won the NBA championship. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is your finals MVP in 2025. And I'm going to sort of run down the Thunder roster and some statistics to sort of show you just how good Oklahoma City was this season. Let's see. I'm going to get the finals MVP and all of that stuff. They had the third best offense in the league and the best defense in the league all year. The finals MVP is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, averaging 30.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 5.6 assists a game. He was the high point man in all but 2 games in this series. He played really well. I feel like if Halliburton might not have tore his Achilles, Indiana had a really good shot at potentially stealing this Game 7 and winning the championship. But we just witnessed an all-time season by an all-time player. Statistically, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander season is on par with, or what I think is it's better than the 1998 Michael Jordan run. So this is one of the greatest seasons of all time because when you do anything that is on the level of the greatest player or one of the greatest players ever, like if you perform in a season and you're close to Kobe Bryant, you're close to LeBron James, you're close to Michael Jordan or Magic or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, any number similar to those guys, or something more dominant than anything that they did, you're on a pretty good path, and you're one of the greatest years ever. And however long his peak lasts, we may see a pretty good run here. Because the thing is, the Thunder are really young. They're built up really well. And it's like if the Thunder are really young, they're built up very well. We're looking at something that could turn into a potential dynasty as we head forward. So Chet Holmgren is only going to get better. Jalen Williams is going to get better because they're both very young still, because Chet is like 21, 22 still. And Jalen Williams is around the same age. He's 21, 22 years old. Now, Shai is at his peak, but the thing is, in the NBA today, everybody is aging very well, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is more of a skill game than an athleticism game. So his defense might get a little bit worse as it gets older, but he will be a better scorer, a smarter scorer, and you'll have Jalen Williams who will be a better scorer and a smarter scorer, and then you'll have Chet Holmgren who will be a better scorer, a stronger player physically, as he's probably going to hopefully eventually build a little bit of muscle. And the role players they have now, like Caruso and Hartenstein, they might leave. But the thing is, they have a draft pick and they have a body for everybody. Like they got Nikola Topic coming in next year. And they have a few draft picks from this draft that just ended yesterday because I'm filming this on a Friday. So they got a lot of good players coming in that are going to be sort of hold off on, hey, we don't really got to worry about all of that extra stuff because we have the guys, we have the manpower, we got the bodies, and we will have the bodies for years. So with that being said, I want to congratulate the Thunder. I'm gonna give a shout out to Jalen Williams. He averaged 23.6 points, 5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and a steal a game, rounded up. Um, Mind you, I also do want to, before I go full way into Jalen Williams, I want to do give a little bit more credit to the MVP Shea Gilgeous because he averaged 2 steals and 2 blocks. Yeah, so he was really hooping, like he was falling, man. That's one of the greatest seasons ever from a guard. Um, and then we got Chet Holmgren. He averaged 12, 9 with a steal, half a steal a game, and 2 blocks a night. And then this is rounded up, of course. We're rounding up. So rounded up, Chet would average about a steal. Thunder were a great defensive team all year. They shot very well. It was actually shocking to see because they were sort of rough in this series as a team shooting wise because they shot very poorly as a team in the finals. Like if you look at the numbers right here, like I'm looking at the numbers, Chet Holmgren and his jumper wasn't that great. I guess his legs might have gave, towards the end, your legs get a little bit tired, Jalen Williams, Kendrick Williams. Kendrick Williams didn't shoot very well. Like the 3-point shooting was bad, but they are snipers from the mid range, which is a lost art in the NBA. And then this kind of interesting to see in the 3-point era, a team that was shooting as bad as the Thunder was really holding on and then running late. I felt like Indiana was actually really, really good at shooting. Like they made some of the better shots that I've ever seen made. And as somebody who watched the entirety of the Warriors run, the Warriors, I guess with the superstars they have, it never even felt like they just made everything like a magnet was guiding the ball to the bottom of the net, and they are the greatest shooters ever. So if that just goes to show you the kind of stuff we're dealing with now. And it's honestly, it's a tragedy to watch something like that happen to Halliburton because he's a really smart young player. And he's a good dude as far as everything goes. And he's been a pillar of the NBA community since he's entered it back when he was a rookie. So it's really a shame to see somebody like him end up in a scenario where he's hurt and now he's going to miss the season and his career is going to be affected, obviously. But the thing is, and then the thing about him and Jason Tatum is they're both so young because Jason Tatum's 27. So the thing is, they played long enough, they've worked long enough. And the thing about it, though, is like they have a lot of career ahead of them. And then they're losing years on sets. And then that's another reason, like they try to say LeBron James and his record. The thing about LeBron James' record is it would be damn near impossible to break. And everybody that's in the position or physically able to try to break LeBron's record might not physically make it to the point that LeBron will make. Because the thing is, LeBron can play if he wants to another 2 or 3 years. He doesn't have to be the best player in the world or even a top 10 player in the world anymore at this point in time. So it's like with LeBron, he could just run them numbers up and them numbers will be so ridiculous and nobody will ever break them. So that's just a little side tick thing that I did want to talk about. So as well as that, I want to say credit to Jalen Williams. He played great. Credit to my boy Alex Caruso, the former Laker. Have to say that. Have to give him the credit for that because he shot 40% from 3 and he averaged 10 points in this series, scored 20 twice, had a block a game, 2.5 steals a night, 10 points averaged on the series. So he was the third best player on the roster. Man, I have to really tip my hat and give credit to him because he was phenomenal. He earned a second championship and he deserved the first one because when he was on the Lakers, I don't know who's watching this, but those of you who know, because I was like, there's times like when we were playing in the finals and in the playoffs, there was a point where he locked up prime James Harden. Like there's certain things like certain like defensive guys in the NBA, a lot of them will have a moment that you're like, oh, this guy is like he's legit. And that was the moment where I knew Alex Caruso was legit because James Harden is one of my favorite players ever. And to watch how he guarded James Harden and he put him in a box and he stuffed the layup that he tried to go for. And I was like, this guy, Caruso, is for real. Because the thing is, if James Harden take you to the cup, that means he beats you. But the thing is like, because they always have to send the help over. They have to send the help big over. And he's either going to float it over them or he's going to lob it up to the big man going towards the basket. So it's like and then that's the thing too, he's an underrated point guard that I would mention. It's nice getting to talk, and I just be the one talking a little bit, but because I was like, shoot, I'm talking right now. I'm yapping, boy. But outside of that, I'm gonna go back to the Thunder. It is kind of interesting to see how the Durant, Westbrook, Harden didn't win, but the Shai Gilgeous, Chet, and Jalen Williams won. And Jalen Williams and Chet only played 2 years in the league. They got Cooper Flag at the WNBA game, and they're showing him on TV right now. He was the first pick in the draft a couple days ago. I think it was a pretty solid draft this year. There's a lot of questionable stuff, a lot of stuff that I think will be great. Hopefully, a lot of these young cats will be pretty good to where they'll sort of take over. I shouldn't say take over the league, but good enough to make an impact on the roster. So I want to start next because I'm going to jump to the next topic because that was a while that I just spent on the Thunder. I spent a lot of time on the Thunder right there. So Masai Ujiri just got fired today. Masai Ujiri, the general manager of the Toronto Raptors, who built the championship team, who built the Kyle Lowry rosters. He's a great general manager, one of the best in the NBA history. He'll be a legend in Toronto forever. I will say from my personal vision of seeing him work, he's a very great person to the Raptors. And it's the same to see him get fired. But the thing is, in the NBA and in the world, life, you have changes. Nothing is forever, I should say. You know, if you have one thing here and you have one thing there, you never always will consistently have it. It'll be something different eventually, especially in sports. Because in sports now, like if you look at the NBA in the past, like they want to harp on guys for being one team guys now. And it's like the only person that is potentially going to be a one team guy in today's era will be Steph Curry. And I guess Draymond at this point. But it's like at any moment, some shit could happen. Some shit could hit the fan. And then now it's like, oh, Steph doesn't fuck with Steve Kerr and the Warriors franchise. And then he's traded somewhere. And then that destroys his legacy because everybody presses on, oh, he played for one team and all that. And it's like, and then in this where we have a problem now. Because it's like, oh, he doesn't really bother anything that he left the team because he was going to leave. And the thing is, everybody ends up leaving. Luka Doncic was supposed to be a Maverick Slifer, but he got traded. Like Joel Embiid has been on Philly his whole career. He could end up off the team. They were just talking about the second apron and all the money stuff ended it up where somebody, who was it, the general manager for Denver was like, oh, I might have to trade Nikola Jokic. And it's like, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. Because it's like now we have to entertain, heck, even Karl-Anthony Towns, Timberwolves guy is now in the New York uniform because of the second apron. They traded off Drew Holiday and all that. Now, they weren't on the one team, but I'm running off on a tangent with that. But it's like the NBA is completely different every year. There's a new player. Like, the thing is like a lot of people, like I have asked before, what is KD going to be remembered as when he leaves the NBA? Oh, he'll be remembered as a Thunder and all that. And it's like his legacy in the Thunder is kind of wiped at this point. There are going to be greater Thunder players. There's going to be greater Warriors. There's going to be greater Nets. There's going to be greater Suns. There's going to be greater Rockets in that jersey. Well, there's a guy actually that he played with that's a better Rocket, and is one of the greater. It will be a top 2 Rocket. I think he's the second greatest Rocket potentially ever. Actually, it's a fight because the thing is Hakeem Olajuwon is considered 1 because of rings. And if he's considered number 1 because of rings, it'll be between Moses Malone and Harden at 2. But I think because both of them didn't play their entire career in Houston, and then both left to varying degrees of success, which Moses Malone won multiple championships in Philly. not Houston. And Hakeem Olajuwon pretty much took his job, him and Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson didn't last long, and they won the championships. So the NBA is changing. It's everlasting, ever changing. And actually, speaking of that, I wanted to kind of touch a little bit more on the draft because I have been seeing that Ace Bailey was kind of going viral this week, said he didn't want to go to the Jazz or the Hornets. And then his Omar Cooper, his manager, related to Sharif Cooper, former NBA player, former Atlanta Hawk. The funny thing, I was like, I didn't know that he was doing. Actually, I did know, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. But as Ice from the Joe Budden podcast was associated to them, and I thought it was pretty funny. That's why I had to mention that. And I was like, that's kind of funny. And then Ace Bailey is trying to be a smart ass and decide which team he's going to, which could end up giving him some consequences down the line that he might not really deserve. Because I know that, and then you just look at what happened to Shedeur Sanders is, he's egotistical and we're going to have to humble him because people will move mountains and go out of their way to shit on a young guy that does what's best for him or does what's best for his career often. And I was like, while I don't blame him for not saying I don't want to go to Atlanta or not Atlanta, but Charlotte or Utah, I don't blame him for saying he doesn't want to play for those franchises. But the thing is, in the NBA draft, you have to sort of take what you can get. And then worse come to worse, when that money get put on the table, you have to pretty much move with the money. And the thing is like the way money is going, like I seen they say Cooper Flag can make $1 billion if he's a superstar. And it's like if Cooper Flag came out the draft and became a superstar, he can make $1 billion in his career. And I was like, the NBA money is getting out of hand. I'm actually going to probably drop a YouTube video about that really soon. So look out for that on D-Man the Great. I'm going to go to the next topic as well. There was a funny Reddit post that I saw today that in the NBA subreddit that I was looking in. And it said, would you let Boston win 2 NBA championships back to back for your team to win 1 championship? And as a Lakers fan, and hell, even as a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, hell no. I fucking hate Boston. I hate every single thing about Boston. The only thing I like about Boston is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They're my favorite Celtic players ever, personally. But, well, actually, I can't, because you know what? I can't say that. But I have a love-hate relationship with KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, and Rondo. I love Rondo. I am a Rondo guy. But I hate Paul Pierce, bitch ass. And I shouldn't say that. But I hate Paul Pierce. I hate Garnett. And Ray Allen, I'm 50-50 on. I guess since he's Shuttleworth, I won't say I hate him as much as them. But he did shoot that shot in that finals with LeBron and them and Chris Bosh. And that was, I'm not going to lie to you, I hate San Antonio. So that meant a lot to me personally. So you give it and you take it. Ray Allen, you give it and you take it away. And it's kind of poetic as a man who played a role in a movie called Jesus when he was Jesus Shuttlesworth, because he took a championship from my Lakers and he took away a championship from San Antonio. So he's balanced in the book for me. But outside of that, Kevin Garnett is one of my favorite players. I respect him tremendously. And I do got to apologize to Paul Pierce because I just said B.A. Paul Pierce. I'm sorry, Paul Pierce, because you're a more manly man than most people in the NBA, and I shouldn't even disrespect you like that. But I would not want Boston to win shit ever again. If Boston never won a championship again, as long as I live, that would be cool. And then I wouldn't even give a fuck if Cleveland and the Lakers didn't win, as long as Boston don't fucking win. Same with Golden State. But that's for another day and another time. And then my last NBA topic of the day, I got 2 more NBA topics. Okay, so Devin Booker has got to get the fuck out of Phoenix. And the reason why I say that is because this roster, they pretty much picked up a guy that can do your job. So he's pretty much your replacement. So in this case, instead of a big and 2 shooting guards, now we have 3 shooting guards. Oh, and this is supposed to be Devin Booker's time, because Devin Booker is one of the most skilled players in the league. Maybe he could teach Mr. Green a little bit of something. But the thing is, and then they're looking for a new head coach. They're trying to talk to Booker about it. But if I'm Booker, fuck you guys. Get me out of here. You guys haven't put shit around me. When you tried it, you blew up the fucking team. Because the Chris Paul rosters were good. Then you decide to get KD, and you get rid of our young guns and Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. And then we end up in we were actually pretty solid the year with Ayton and Chris Paul, but then in the summertime, Ayton has to go, Chris Paul has to go. So now everything is fucked up. Now, when you pick up Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal can't be healthy the first year, he showed signs of being all right, but he just couldn't stay healthy. We go out in the first round for a second season. Well, they didn't make the second. They made the second round the first year. They did, but they ended up playing Denver and lost. Okay, so then the next year they go out in the first round. So it's like, shoot, that's not really good. And they got their ass beat, like they got spanked. They had Anthony Edwards doing DX chops at the middle of the floor. That's how bad they were whooping their ass. So to go further with it, Devin Booker got to get out of Phoenix. There's no hope. Phoenix will not win the championship as currently constructed. And then maybe if Booker goes somewhere else, they can kind of get some stuff together to produce maybe a good team down the line with Jalen Green. And Bradley Beal still has the worst contract in basketball. Love you, Bradley, but that contract is horrid. And he has regressed significantly. And he regressed so bad this year that they couldn't even make the playoffs. When Devin Booker makes $50 million, KD made $50 million, and Bradley Beal make $50 million. And now since Kevin Durant is in Houston, we'll see how that affects Houston. But the thing is, now they have something that they did need. But the thing is, it's a situation where, can I teach an old dog new tricks? Because if KD is on this roster, and now he is going to score them points like he always does. But the thing is, can he jump in there and then? Because the thing is, it's like they didn't really give up that much to get him. So it's like, it's going to be a similar roster. It's going to be a really competitive team. It's going to be very interesting to see KD and the young guns to see if they can churn out a high-level contending roster. We will see. But all in all, I think Devin Booker needs to get out of Phoenix. There's no hope for you to win the championship there. And you may never get close to one there. And it would be a disservice to yourself and your legacy. And because you're currently the best basketball player from our state of Michigan. So if you're not going to be, because I guess Draymond is the greatest active Michigander playing, but it's like Devin Booker is the best player for Michigan right now. And he can be a really good player. And then I seen now this is a hot take. Now somebody said on Twitter, I've seen somebody on Twitter, they said that Devin Booker is skilled as SGA, and it's a shame he was getting his talents. I would never go that far. But because Devin Booker ain't been an MVP. Now the thing is, he could have won that 2022 MVP, but they didn't even give him a thought at winning that. Neither. So I don't think he could ever win the MVP award. I don't know if that's even possible. And then in today's day and age, you have to be a big man that averages 10 boards to get the MVP anyway. That's why I was kind of rooting for Shea to win it this year, because I was like, shoot, it's a shame that I have to be a center that can pass the ball. Now that, and I don't want to say it that way because it sounds like I'm sort of ragging on Jokic, because I'm not really trying to rag on Jokic. It's sort of a Jokic and Giannis. And because the big men have been in Embiid and all, because it's like, okay, I really have to be a big man and average 30 points and 15 rebounds and 7 assists to win the award. that's not really fair to any guard trying to win the MVP award. Um, and then lastly, just a cool tidbit: Angel Reese's brother was just picked up for the summer league team for Los Angeles Lakers. So we'll see how good he can be on that roster when the summer league starts in a few days. I'm a fan of it, I guess, because it's just summer league, so it don't really matter no way. And then hopefully he could be good because maybe he can get picked up somewhere and make an NBA roster. And then that's a very talented family in basketball based on everything that I've seen. Because it's like his numbers in college were pretty solid. He averaged about 13 points, 10 rebounds a game in college. And I was like, shoot, you averaged a near double-double. That means that you can perform pretty well. And he was a solid defender. He averaged a steal and a block. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Hopefully he can actually do something. Maybe he could carve out a little guest spot in the league half the time. So he can be a successful sibling to Angel Reese, who will probably eventually go down as one of the better WNBA players. I mean, not as skill-wise, but she'll be known as one of the greatest women's basketball players with every achievement she makes from here on out. So you don't want to be the brother who played two that wasn't like, Reggie Miller and Cheryl Miller, It's like Cheryl's considered one of the greatest women's players ever, maybe even the greatest to some people. And then Reggie Miller turned out to be one of the greatest NBA players and the greatest Indiana Pacer of all time. And those rankings might would have changed a little bit with the championship from Indiana. But Tyrese Halliburton them didn't win, so Reggie's still the GOAT over in Indy. All right. So with that being said, that's the last of my basketball topics today. And with my podcast, I want to talk about what I want to talk about. So I'm about to jump into professional wrestling. So with professional wrestling, WWE Night of Champions is in a few hours, actually, because I'm filming this on Friday night on, let's see, what is the dates? Friday, June 27th. So in a few hours, Night of Champions will go live in about 14 to 16 hours here. SmackDown is on as I'm speaking. So with that being said, I'm going to go down the card and sort of give a little bit of predictions of those. Let's see, WWE Night of Champions 2025. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to jump into the different matches. I'm going Wikipedia, hosted in Saudi Arabia, the last Night of Champions for John Cena. Let's see. It's in the last pay-per-view live stream. Oh, right. They are definitely. I forgot about that because they might not be doing Crown Jewel because the Royal Rumble is going to be in Saudi Arabia this coming year. Speaking of that, wrestling has been phenomenal. And then it has moments where it's not, and it's had moments where it's the best thing in the world. There's nothing like going to live pro wrestling because I've seen the Royal Rumble this year. I went to AEW about a month ago. Went to SmackDown last Friday, planning to go to All In London, or not All in London, but I said All in London, All in Texas in a couple weeks here. They got the hockey draft on right now. So in Minnesota Lynx, Atlanta Dream playing right now. But back in the wrestling. So I'm gonna sort of go down the card. I'm going to tell what match that I think is good, what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to just go down the card here. So the first match they have written down is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes in the King of the Ring tournament final. The winner of this will be the first ever King of the Ring. Either of those two competitors win. I predict Cody Rhodes will win this and become King of the Ring. And because the thing is, Randy Orton, he's one of the most well-rounded. He has one of the best, most well-rounded resumes of any wrestler ever. And Randy doesn't need King of the Ring, whereas Cody Rhodes doesn't need it either. But Cody Rhodes will just have another fur in his cap. And he will be fighting John Cena at SummerSlam, might even win and be a two-time WWE champion. But the thing is, Cody Rhodes will be in the midst of one of the greatest eras, greatest runs in the history of WWE, because it's like if you go in this 3-year run, it's like, oh, I won the Royal Rumble twice since I came back. I won the WWE Championship over Roman Reigns, who held it the longest in modern history, because Roman Reigns held the WWE Championship for the longest in 40 years. So it's like it's another fur Cody, and I was the first ever Crown Jewel guy, Crown Jewel Men's Champion, all of that. Like Cody Rhodes has done it all at this point, and he'll just be adding another layer to his decorated career. And then the thing is like if you just want to talk in general, you talk about I created the competition and left the competition. I made the company. That's our major competitor. I brought Japanese style professional wrestling back to America when WWE held the monopoly over it, wrestling for that long ass period of time. So Cody Rhodes is my pick. And then I just glazed him quite a bit. So I'm about to move on to the next one. All right. So the next match, Asuka Jade Cargill, Queen of the Ring, the tournament final. And the winner of the match receives a title shot at SummerSlam. And I predict that Jade Cargill will win this one. A lot of people have been predicting Jade from the jump. And I do agree with them because it makes the most sense as far as story-wise. And then Tiffany Stratton, she's been a world champ all year. So it'll be about August roughly when SummerSlam occurs. So she'd have had a nice 8-month title reign. So she might be just about up out of here with that for a little bit. And then with that, Jade Cargill, since breaking on the scene in WWE, has been one of the most popular female acts on the main roster. And then that's the thing too, is a lot of wrestling fans on the internet, they 50-50, they don't like her wrestling ability and all that. Asuka, now Asuka, she has a really good reason and a really good point. It's like, hey, she might even should win in this case, because Asuka versus Io Sky at SummerSlam is something to do for Io Sky, because Io Sky won the championship at the beginning of March and has defended it at WrestleMania, and then really hasn't really defended the championship again. So it's like, shoot, I would like a story for Asuka to potentially return, come back, and then face one of her, I guess, best friends, or not really best friends, but good friendly rivals, friendly former faction members, so she can sort of earn back the legacy that she deserves, because Asuka is one of the greatest WWE women's wrestlers of all time and should have been booked a lot better. She was the first ever women's Royal Rumble winner, and she's never really got her ascension to the top and being the girl at the top of WWE. And she's not doing nothing but getting older. So she's already 40 something. So it's like Asuka doesn't have the most time left. So it's like, shoot, she might can wrestle till she's 50, but 50 something even. But it's like, shoot, Asuka being the dominance, being the most, because she is the NXT women's GOAT as well. If you go by wins and losses, she beat everybody in NXT. She hadn't lost in NXT to this day, right? So it's like they got to give her a good run at the money before she decides to hang those boots up for the rest of her career. And she spent most of last year on the shelf with injury. So on to the next point. John Cena versus CM Punk. I think John Cena is going to retain, of course. This is more, I feel like it's not John Cena's time. And then it's like, I guess you could do Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk or Randy Orton versus CM Punk. But it's like, why would we do that over the match, the main event at WrestleMania in Cody and John? So the point being, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena is the match for SummerSlam, and we might as well just take it because it's right there. Love CM Punk, love Randy Orton. It is not y'all time right now. It is the John Cena retirement tour. So it's time for him to carry on to the finish line. And then we'll see what happens. I don't know how they're going to book the rest of this. Cody could win it back. You never know. He's been playing with a heel turn in public and all that. I don't know if he's, because the thing is, Cody is known to exaggerate. So, known trait of a lot of wrestlers that do all the politicky stuff. All right, next, we're going Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. I think Jacob Fatu might retain here. But the thing is, if you go by Steven Larson's go home math, I just watched on the screen Jacob and Jey Uso beat the hell out of everybody in the fake bloodline. So Solo might win that belt tomorrow, but I think Jacob gonna retain. But Solo might just win tomorrow if you go home math is right. In the go home, I mean that's the last show before the pay-per-view, and typically the loser of the match will beat up the champion and look strong, or not the champion, but the champion or the loser, whoever's going to lose the match, whether it be the champion, challenger, beats up their opponent for the pay-per-view, and then they lose the match at the pay-per-view. All right, so next fight, we got Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. I think that now they call Rhea Hogan for a reason, and that's why I'm gonna give her the win in this one because she's the most popular wrestler in the female world at the moment. There's only a few contenders fucking with her in that title. And the thing is now Raquel does have a chance because Roxanne Perez is around, and it would be poetic because the thing is the thing about it is she might turn on Liv eventually, because this is sort of how Rhea Ripley got ousted from the Judgment Day with Dom. And in this situation, this would be Roxanne. Now, she has no reason to fucking hate Liv Morgan like Liv hated Rhea, because Rhea and Liv were the whole tag partners and all of that. Then you injured my shoulder, then I injured your shoulder, then took your band and all that. So it's like they Liv and Rhea did the thing. So in this situation, it would be, I haven't beat Rhea in years. Raquel's thinking, right? And then this little Roxanne, she came in, she helped me beat Rhea ass on Raw. Then I put that heifer through a table on Raw. And then I might beat her on a PLE or one of those things, teaming with her. So I might like her because Liv ain't never helped me beat Rhea ass. So that's another point. So maybe we don't know what happens. I think Rhea's gonna win this one because I think there's some stuff for Evolution planned down the line, because I think somebody has to sort of take over some of Liv Morgan's plans since she got that big shoulder injury. All right, so Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross. Sami Zayn is gonna win. There's no point for Karrion Kross to win. He kind of has bad publicity at the moment because they did the whole bump stuff on Twitter, and they're trying to pretty much decide what his work rate is and all of that stuff. And with that being said, I don't really care too much about that match. Karrion Kross is over with the fans. They're trying to support him because Khan and Triple H have both said before that they go off of the fan reaction in the arena. So maybe him getting a big pop every time he shows up will help him get that push that everybody wants him to get. And then I'm going to jump right back on to Cody and Randy Orton one more time because I do want to put that over just a touch before I get out of here. So Randy and Cody is the most exciting match for me of Night of Champions because it's not a nostalgia match like CM Punk and John Cena will be. It's Randy Orton is, to me, in one of his best runs as a performer and as a babyface in 2025, 2024, 23, that he's been back since he came back from that back injury, because it seems like he really enjoys being back in wrestling. And then he gets to do the story with Cody Rhodes that we've been waiting for let's see, since 2008. So that's about 17 years we've been waiting on this story. So it's like, this is a big story, a big match, a big fight feel. And this is going to be the very beginning of potentially one of the most personal feuds we've seen in a while. Because you know what happens with Randy Orton. Randy Orton, he enters a blood feud. Like if you look at him and Triple H, I'll never forget the night when I Like I remember watching the Raw replay on that weekend. I watched it live and I watched the replay on Saturday where Triple H broke into Randy house and beat the mess out of him. That was one of the greatest moments ever. Or when Randy RKO'd Stephanie. He didn't. I don't know if he RKO'd Stephanie. Did kissed her in front of Triple H. He punt kicked Shane and Vince McMahon and all of them. So yeah, it's a whole shebang. That's a great feud. You look at his feud with John Cena. He punt kicked John Cena dad. I remember because that was when they first started feuding. He tried to blow him up. Then when Randy Orton got beat up at Unforgiven, John Cena got disqualified. He told his dad to kick him in the head. He put him in the STF on the outside. All that. It was amazing. But this could be one of those feuds, depending on where WWE decides to go. This is going to be the launch for it, but it's not going to go. I don't know if it's going to go super duper far for a while, but it's just a Kickstarter and the way to see what kind of. It's a test. See what kind of how good is these guys' chemistry in the ring. And then so I'm at about 41 minutes right now. So I'm about to jump over to AEW real quick. So AEW All In Texas coming in a couple weeks. I talked about it. I said I'm going there. I am most excited for 2 matches on that card. I am excited for Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada because this is their 5th match, I believe, 1-on-1. And if you know the lore, they pretty much popularize they're because the thing is, when I just said Cody helped there be an AEW, Kenny Omega is just as responsible with his great performing. Him and Kazuchika Okada having those matches that Dave Meltzer was like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is 6 stars. This is 7 stars on a 5-star rating system. Like those are the most legendary, most highly touted matches in the history of professional wrestling as a whole. Like this is the world coming in on itself one more time. And then you don't know how much longer Kenny's going to go, and especially since he almost died from diverticulitis. And then, so it's one of the most exciting things for me. I'm get to witness professional wrestling history as a whole in person, you know? So then on to the other side, the other match that I am very, very excited for is Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm. And Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm, because this is sort of a breaking point. This is sort of a picture, a vision in time. Because the thing is, if Mercedes Moné can pull this one off and become the women's world champion, a lot of people might say the AEW women's division is over. Whereas Toni, if Toni wins, I mean, it's still sort of, Toni is the one that Mercedes couldn't just beat. And that makes this a very interesting situation. But the thing is, we've seen Toni lose. We never seen Mercedes Moné lose since she's been back wrestling. So it's quite a conundrum here. And it's going to be a match for the ages, I should say. Because Mercedes Moné is the greatest in-ring performer in women's wrestling as far as America goes, bar none. And she might even be the world's greatest women's wrestler ever. But the thing is, now that I'm talking about in-ring specifically. And so the thing is, I'm excited, I'm ready, and it's going to be a match that decides the future of AEW and the future of its women's division. And it's going to be the biggest blockbuster match they could have possibly put on this year. And with that being said, I got about a minute left on the docket here. So I'm going to wrap things up by saying I'm super duper excited for all things wrestling. I'm super duper excited for everything NBA that I talked about. And I was like, I might have tripped a little bit on that too. I did go a little bit far with a few things, but I think I did. I think I accomplished what I came out here to achieve. So I wanted to bid a fair adieu to everybody. If you lasted this long, I thank you for listening. And I get to say my good old catchphrase one more time, and I will catch you guys later.